Hello, I'm Theodore Parker, and this is the Sideshow. Today is Friday, July 8th, 2022. The temperature was in the 70s earlier. I know the other day I was talking about what the temperature is, what it was going to be. It was a couple degrees higher than that. But since we are into the summer months, I guarantee that the temperature will rise. Got the mask, kind of update you on the medical situations related to contagious diseases. There have been 46,000 reported cases of monkeypox. And right on the heels of that, with the COVID-19 pandemic, Omicron was the most contagious variant of that series related to COVID-19. So now Omicron has two new variants of its own. BA5, which is reported cases at 54%, and BA4 reported cases at 42%. Both variants of Omicron, which is a variant of the COVID-19 virus. So you can start with these, commonly referred to as the mask, and consult your physician for other suggestions and medical advice in your particulars. It's Friday, the weekend, second weekend of July, rapidly approaching the middle of it, and the seventh month of 2022. Things going on around the world. The headlines usually are kind of consistent here in this country. We're either talking about the war or something else that's going on. The economy, gas prices here in Kentucky have continued to fall. So various other things like that. So it's kind of surprised me that there was a different kind of headline amongst the top news stories. But before I get into that, I wanted to relate something else to you. Prior to the Supreme Court announcing its decision about Roe v. Wade, concerns about gun violence was pretty much at the top of the list. So I remember, since I'm over here on YouTube, away from my normal platform on Facebook, then I had seen something come across my page. I'm not sure if it was right at the present, whether it was like Reels, my story, but anyway, it came across my page. So the setting was a group of people were having a good time. Apparently, they had gotten a space and they were celebrating because there was dancing going on. Couples were dancing, and there were some drinks on the tables, and so forth and so on, like that. So the frame moves through the crowd, and then it comes to this one man who's standing up by apparently his table, a few drinks on the table, and this is apparently not from America, in the sense that the people appear to be of another culture. Okay. So that being said, so he's standing at the table and he's waving a handgun in the air as he is, dancing, right? So he's a little bit inebriated, not falling down drunk, but you can tell that he's had a few, as they say. So while all this is going on, into the frame walks a little toddler. So whoever is filming this, is able to adjust and move around. So the toddler walks into the frame. So the camera tilts, and I say it's a toddler because Um, the baby had on a t-shirt, a diaper, socks and tennis shoes. Okay, so that's a toddler. Well, 2 years old, terrible twos, toddlers walking, et cetera, et cetera. So the man that's waving the gun, that's all shiny and everything, hands it to the toddler, right? So he turns and starts dancing, but he's looking down at the toddler holding the gun. So the toddler lays the gun like on his side because of the height difference and everything else like that, and supporting or whatever. And somehow or another manages to pull the trigger. The flash goes off, the frame freezes, and there's no more. So no more video. So all these kind of questions run through my mind. Number one, you're at a party. It's all right, for you to be a family person, have your child or children around, which makes a statement in and of itself. But here comes somebody with a handgun at the party. That's supposed to be a family situation, apparently. And not only does that, but hands the gun to a toddler. And the toddler squeezes the trigger and shoots him in the side. Who does those kind of things? So that I just thought I would kind of relieve my brain of that memory of seeing it and pass it on to you so you can carry it for a while if you feel so inclined. At least go, what? At least that deserves at least a what? Then a wow and a few other comments too. But after those things about the medical situations and contagious diseases and all that kind of stuff, this article was number one for the headlines. And it's coming out of Japan. And Japan was going through their prime minister election campaigns in Japan, scheduled for a vote on Sunday. And although this article reads for Friday, Japan happens to be in that part of the world where there's enough of a time difference where they are ahead of the time that we have in the United States. So it reads Friday for having already happened. And I'm pretty much going to give it to you, in its entirety, except for maybe a few direct quotes. So anyway, the head of the article or the headline, former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe dies after being shot in Nara. Former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, one of the most consequential leaders in Japan's post-war history, died Friday after being shot while he was giving a stump speech in the city of Nara. He was 67 years old. Okay, just so you understand before I go any further. He was prime minister twice, most recently during the time when President Trump, former President Trump was in office. And his family is like blue blood politicians. His father was prime minister. He was prime minister twice. Most recently during that time, stepped down for health issues. There was another relative that had a prominent political position. So it's like a blue blood family of politicians that this man that got shot comes from, former prime minister. So he continues. The police have arrested the man suspected of attacking Abe, who was giving a speech in front of Yamato Saidaiji Station when the incident took place around 11:30 a.m. Campaigning had been underway for Sunday's upper house election. Videos of the incident showed 2 shots being fired. Japan is known for having one of the strictest gun laws in the world. So they had some still pictures, and it showed, I guess, law enforcement there, dressed in a suit. Did have his holster on his side, but as he was reaching for the suspect who had an automatic weapon with a strap across his shoulders, his hands were empty. So I continue. Okay. Japan is known for having one of the strictest gun control laws in the world. Abe suffered an injury to the right side of his neck due to a gunshot wound and was bleeding internally in the left side of his chest, according to the Fire and Disaster Management Agency. The former prime minister was transported via a medical helicopter to Nara Medical University Hospital. The man was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, and the gun was confiscated. As I said, it's described as a semi-automatic weapon, black tape on the two barrels. Government officials said the suspect had been a maritime self-defense force officer for 3 years around 2005. Now, the present prime minister called everybody that was out campaigning back to Tokyo, which is the capital of Japan, after this incident occurred. And Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said to reporters, it was a despicable, barbaric act that happened during election campaigning, the foundation of democracy. It is an unforgivable act. So that's his comment. He's the present prime minister. High school students who witnessed the shooting told NHK that the man came up from behind and fired 2 shots. Says people in Japan expressed shock at the use of a gun in the attack, a rare occurrence in the country. In an era of increased, so this is where I didn't give the direct quotes, but at least 2 people had commented not only on Japan's attitude toward strict gun laws, but also one of the persons that commented has spent time in the United States 20 years, and comparing the two, it was almost unheard of that something like this would happen in Japan. Now, as far as Abe himself is concerned, the former prime minister, it was Shinzo Abe, there was a few additional comments about him and what he has been involved in during his political career. Some of the things, at least. In an era of increased Chinese military and economic assertiveness, Abe is widely credited as the key architect of the Quad framework, a security grouping of Japan, the US, Australia, and India, and with advancing values-based diplomacy promoting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. So, that's what happened in Japan. Shinzo Abe, dead at 67. Friday, July 8th, 2022, heading into the weekend. Oh, something I keep forgetting to do. I'm quite sure everybody can kind of think for themselves, but since I'm over here on YouTube, I think almost everybody knows it's either like and subscribe. You're welcome to do that. That's it. Hashtag.